Hello and welcome to this GIS report. I'm your host, Information Officer Feliza Fenty for the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor. The minimum wage will change on October 1st to $6 per hour. And you have many questions. So let's hear from the experts on the steps taken to make the raise.
Simply put, the minimum wage is the lowest amount that an employer can pay an employee for work performed. Simply put.
A minimum wage is an amount set by government, normally on a per hourly basis, that employers by law have to pay employees. They cannot pay them below that amount.
The ILO's definition of minimum wage was adopted. The essence of that definition is that a minimum wage represents the lowest amount that is payable by an employer to an employee for services rendered.
The living wage is the basic cost of living for an individual who may be in a particular location. So in terms of the differences then, the minimum wage is defined by law, it's legal, it's binding. You would recall that the last minimum wage was in 1999, where the government moved from $3 to $4. So now we're looking at raising the minimum wage to $6 because the government of the day has made that decision, and it's by law. The living wage, however, looks at things like cost of living, accommodations, it looks at health care, it looks at transportation, it looks at food. It looks at what would it cost for a person to comfortably live in a particular location. Even a local example, on Tortola, the living wage may be very different from the living wage on Virgin Gorda, because Virgin Gorda's living wage is a little bit higher. The difference between the two then is the minimum wage is legal, is binding, is by law, and the living wage is not legal. It's based on what you would need to live comfortably in a particular location. That's the difference.
Lots of people confuse the issue of living wage versus minimum wage. Minimum wage, as Dr. Samuels said, is clearly defined by ILO as the minimum wage that should be paid to an employee based on the law. And whereas a living wage is a wage that one assumes they can live comfortable on. And again, we looked at that intensively, a living wage, and we did some calculations as to what we think a person can comfortably live based on the cost of living in the British Virgin Islands. And we came up with some figures that will be a bit above what we propose as minimum wage, but nevertheless, we look at a number of models, a number of different things, a number of different statistics, and came up with what we think is a reasonable minimum wage. But a living wage, we know, is what a person can comfortably live on based on the community you live in.
If I may add, if we are to arrive at a distinction between the living wage and the minimum wage, we must emphasize that a minimum wage is protected by law, whereas a living wage is an arbitrary figure that is arrived at based on the cost of a basket of goods.
The committee was set by the minister of the day, and it was set with 17 individuals, myself being the chairman, Dr. Samuels, the vice chair, and we had a number of people from different departments in government, like the statistics department, Mr. Raymond Phillips. From the labor department, we had Mrs. Reimer, and we had a number of representatives from different areas in the community. We had a few people representing employer, others representing employee, and we had other people representing the junior or the youths in the community. And it was quite a diverse group of about 17 people that made up the committee.
There was representation from some of the specific industries within our economy, such as the hotel and tourist sector, the shops and stores, to name a few. The council for the churches was also represented.
We had a statistics department do telephone survey, We did survey a number of businesses. A questionnaire was prepared and a number of questions was asked and data was collected and summarized. We also went to the Social Security Board and get information from the Social Security Department based on what people are being paid. We got information from the Labor Department, and that was triggered more around what people are, to see who are paid low wages and get an idea from that, and did a number of data, put some statistics together to come up with what we think is a comfortable minimum wage.
The committee gleaned ideas and suggestions from conducting talk shows, radio talk shows, television shows, and hosting some town hall meetings. Yes, and we thank the committee, the community for their input in this process.
I must say with the town hall meetings, while the support was not that great in terms of numbers, the people who participated made very meaningful comments. It was a very interactive session, and we were able to gather quite a bit of information from the sessions. The survey was done for about 70 businesses, and we did have some other informal information that other committee members done besides the formal survey. But the formal survey covered about 70 businesses. And we did do a wide cross section, and we made sure we cover a few outer islands like Jocelyn Dyke, Virgin Gorda, and so forth. In terms of coming up with the minimum wage, we know employees will get as much as possible in their pockets, but at the end of the day, business must be able to sustain themselves. And we look at the business, what will keep the business sustainable, and not just go at a random figure or based on certain interviews. And talking to the businesses, most businesses realize that, yes, we are paying in some cases a bit too low. We can do a bit better, but they also have some better working conditions. And as we explain to them, to get better working conditions, sometimes you have to pay a bit more to get it. And businesses agreed. And we, based on the survey, most of the businesses agreed, or the majority, that an increase is necessary and they can afford an increase. I mean, some set what figure they think is comfortable. And the main that we got was pretty much close to $6.
It should impact the economy in a positive way. Because, history has shown that when consumers have more money to spend, it builds the economy, right? However, as I said before, we would hope that with this increased minimum wage, there would be more disposable income at the disposal of the consumer. Hopefully, this additional disposable income is spent within the local economy, and definitely it should help to boost the economy. Business owners would think, as I said, because their wage bill would increase, they would think it should have a negative impact on them. But if you look at the bigger picture, more disposable income means more spending, which should be in the best interest of the business owners.
But by and large, the business community was in favor of increasing the minimum wage.
As far as enforcing the minimum wage, to a large extent, it depends on the Labor Commissioner and the Labor Department to do some of the enforcing. They look at work permits, and then work permits must have a rate on it. And we will try to, we as a committee had a particular mandate to come up with a new minimum wage, and we literally disband. We still will give support from time to time where possible, but we directly not involved with the enforcement of the minimum wage. And it depends on the Labor Department. Social Security information will be reviewed from time to time because that's submitted idea what people are being paid from the Social Security Department. But we hope that the government will strengthen the Labor Department to really police the minimum wage and make sure it's implemented.
The Labor Department has various units. One of the units is inspection. The inspection unit will be charged with the responsibility of enforcement. What does that mean? They'll go on site to the various businesses in the territory. They might ask to look at employee records, which is mandated by the Labor Code. They have that power and authority to do that. We'll be conducting orientation sessions for the employers where we remind them about the new minimum wage. We have the One Government initiative throughout government. We will collaborate with the other departments of government, immigration, social security, inland revenue, to make sure that we're all on the same page. When persons come to the Labor Department, if we find that their documents does not reflect the minimum wage of $6 come October the 1st, we will ask the employer to come and make that adjustment, make that change, because we will be charging them at $6. Even though the change may not have necessarily been made on the form, they will be charged at the $6 per hour. So those are some of the ways that we'll be enforcing the government's commitment to $6 per hour.
Well, the overall benefit should be that persons are in a better position to afford a better standard of living. That has benefits for the social behavior, the social situation, so it goes beyond economics. Because normally when persons can afford to take care of their basic needs, it puts them in a more comfortable position. So it could help to relieve things like stress related to not being able to meet your basic needs. So overall it has economic benefit, it should have economic benefits, social benefits, and other benefits as well.
My immediate comment will be that the increase in the minimum wage would provide more disposable income to especially low-income families. And I think this was an excellent initiative on the part of the government, and I'm also happy that the business community has supported that endeavor.
The Labor Department is here to assist. And so you want to see us as a friend, call us if you need us, stop by if you need to speak to us, come in. We're here to assist you in making the transition a smooth one. We're here to work for you.
The conversation doesn't end here, as the rollout creates many waves, and more information will come out in the days and weeks before and beyond October 1st. I'm your host, Information Officer Feliza Fenty. Thanks for watching.